Labour Party candidate in the 2024 Edo governorship election, Olumide Akpata, this week defected to the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Akpata made a formal move to ADC on Tuesday at a ceremony held at the party secretariat in Benin. Akpata expressed gratitude for the warm reception, thanked the ADC for believing in a new Nigeria, and saluted the obedient movement for their steadfastness. On the day of his defection, there was a violent gun attack in Benin City that disrupted the political event attended by Peter Obi and other opposition figures. While Akpata described the incident as a calculated assault on opposition politics and a threat to democracy, the state government insisted the violence stemmed from internal wrangling within the African Democratic Congress, ADC, dismissing claims of state complicity. Joining us on the show to discuss his defection to the ADC and also what transpired on Tuesday is Olumide Akpata, Labour Party candidate in the 2024 Edo governorship election, who has now moved to the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, Aya. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you.
In one piece.
Well,
I've checked. Everything is okay.
Why ADC? Why not another party after you decided to leave the Labour Party? And then the attack on the Secretariat of the ADC in Benin, with all those gunshots and throwing of chairs and all of that, you just said, yeah, okay, no problem. How did you do it? Was it with the aid of an African transponder that you left the scene in one piece? But the state government is saying, the violence is not from the opposition, that is due to disagreements within the ADC itself.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. Thank you for having me again. Personally, I still believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And in this journey, we have co-travelers. We have persons that we work with, that we have continued to sojourn with in this journey to that new Nigeria that we consider to be possible. And after quite a bit of introspection, some of us who belong to the Labour Party in Edo State decided that it would make sense to go with our leader, Mr. Peter Obi, who moved to the ADC on the 31st of December 2025, so that we can continue to work towards this new Nigeria that we believe is possible. I like to keep things to the basics. I like to simplify issues. What has been the experience of the Nigerian? What is the citizenship experience of the Nigerian after about over 10 years of the APC being in power? What has been the experience? And in my interaction with the Nigerians, and in my own experience as a Nigerian, it has been less than optimal. And I see in the ADC some co-travelers who, including particularly Mr. Peter Obi, who I think believe in the same things, and hopefully we can move Nigeria towards that destination where we think the average Nigerian will begin to enjoy being Nigerian. That is really the motivation for me. So, which is why not just myself, but some of us, quite a number of us in Edo State who belong to the Labour Party, took the decision. It wasn't taken lightly. Jumping from one political party to the other was never I never thought that is what it would turn out to be in this political journey. I am not really a fan of jumping from one place to the other, but unfortunately needs must. With regard to what happened on that particular day, the event, which is the movement of this, some of us to Labour ADC, was fixed for 11 o'clock. It happened, it started about 1 o'clock. And we got intel from usually reliable sources that that venue, the Secretariat of the ADC on Ogbelaka Street in Benin, would come under attack. And so we're told to speed up our event. So we tried to move as quickly as we could. And then we left the premises and proceeded to Chief Oyegun's house in the GRA. When we got to Chief Oyegun's house, we were told that as soon as we left Ogbelaka, the place was attacked. Indeed, I had cousins who had come with me. I had friends who had come with me. Some of them were injured. A particular cousin who was she had a bottle smashed on her head. So it wasn't a case of, as we say, I have first-hand information regarding, or very, very credible information regarding what happened that day. We were informed about this when we were in Chief Oyegun's residence. And while we were still trying to mull over what the implications were, we were right outside his front door, taking pictures and discussing. When we saw, it was like a double drive-by. We saw people some guys driving past the house and started shooting. So it's a bit of a distance from his front door to the gates. There's a driveway. But the shooting was so intense that the DSS men who were there with us had to push us back into his sitting room. And we were there for another 20 minutes until these assailants had fled the scene. And then we went outside to inspect the damage and all the cars that were there. If there were people sitting in those cars, there's no doubt in my mind that persons would have died that day if there were people sitting in those cars. And you could see the gates, you could see the bullet piercings and all of that. So that's what happened on that day. It was quite sad. With regard to the point about the Edo State government stating that this was an intra-party thing, I don't buy that. And I don't think many people will buy that. The issues that that were taking place at the ADC just the day before involved persons who I know personally. I know them very well. Will not resort to getting armed men to come to the heart of GRA in the afternoon to start firing guns. What I think, Dr. Bati, is that it is just a message being sent to the electorate, and it's a very dangerous message, that you will participate in this process at the risk of life and limb. So you are better off staying at home. That's an attack on democracy. Because what you find is that people become reluctant to participate. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, some of my associates called me. After the process of moving to ADC, you have to follow through by going to your ward to actually register and then eventually get a card. So some of my associates called me, said, "Sir, we went to Ward 2. This particular individual is a lawyer. I can give you his name and number so your people in Benin can talk to him. We went to Ward 2 ADC to join them at what was usually their weekly meeting so we can register." He says the chairman was visibly petrified, chairman of that ward, visibly afraid, refused to open the premises up for the usual meeting. Because
I can imagine.
You can understand that. Because if Chief Oyegun's house is not sacred, if Chief Oyegun's house, next to Chief Ogbenedeo's house, next to the brigade commander's house, right next to government house, can be attacked, who is safe? Yeah.
Let me ask you, has a formal reports been filed with the police?
Yes, I'm informed.
And what has the response been? Because if you were saying that the people that had there was wrangling in the day before, so you admit to that. But you're saying that the people involved are not persons of that. They are not capable of doing what you said. So who are the people capable of doing what you said? Because, and then I wanted to ask you, based on eyewitness, since you said, your cousins were there, what were the assailants? What were they? The gunmen? What were they saying? Were they chanting? Did they say anything? Sometimes when they're attacking, they'll say certain things to intimidate. Were there any things being said, at least to give us an indication of who might be behind this?
So, to your last point, what the report I got from my cousin was that anybody wearing the ADC cap, because on that day, ADC caps were distributed. Anybody wearing the ADC cap was attacked and insulted and, just had invectives.
What kind of insults?
It was a case of, the fear. That kind of thing, the fear. That's the sense, that's the information I got. The fear. Mm-hmm. Not the fear. Mm-hmm. Try and make we see, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So they would take the cap, they would seize the cap from them and then hit them with whatever cudgels they had and all of that. One particular person, the guy had a gun, but he didn't shoot at the person, he shot to the ground, and there was a ricochet, and then some pellets or whatever it was hit this particular person. And it was a case of, it was obvious to everybody that their offense was that they were participating in an ADC event. So when you ask me who are the people, there are only two players in this game. It is the APC and the opposition. You understand what I mean? And so for me, we say in law, res ipsa loquitur, the inescapable, the ineluctable conclusion is that the ruling party is sending a message to your position that opposition will not be tolerated. It's unfortunate. I am sure you asked about the police.
Yes.
Matter has been reported.
And let me add to that. Has the ADC experienced these hostilities in any other part where they've gone to make, because this is not the first, destination. So what was different about Benin City, Edo State?
If you remember when Gbadebo Revival was also going to move to the ADC, the same thing happened. He had to move from location to location. He was frustrated. His venues were attacked when he tried to move. I have been informed of another incident in Kaduna. Same thing happened to the ADC candidate. So I don't think it's a one-off. I don't think it's a stand-alone. It's just that in Edo, because of the recent happenings in Edo, where violence would appear to become the norm, violence would seem to have returned to center stage. So focus is on Edo because, as you know, foreign ambassadors were attacked at a museum recently. Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki was publicly humiliated on the streets of Benin. So we're getting bad press. We're in the press for the wrong reasons.
So the police. So I just wanted to find the police. What was their response?
So for me personally, on that morning, I took it upon myself to call the police commissioner. Spoke to him on the phone. I said, we're having this meeting at Ubelaka. And he says, yeah, everybody's free to have a meeting. I said, yes, Commissioner, but remember, this same building was attacked. That ADC Secretariat was attacked a couple of weeks ago. And some people poured petrol, attempted to burn it down. So I said, so I think conventional wisdom will suggest that we should take extra precaution because of all the persons who will be there. He said, okay, he has heard me. So after I didn't see any police presence there on the day, but the ADC state chapter chairman has made a formal complaint, and we're waiting to hear. We haven't heard anything further. We're waiting to see what.
In how many days? No, nothing from.
Well, I left Benin a couple of days ago, so I don't want to say if the police has actually called anybody for. I will have to call to find out what they've done.
In all of this, the governor of the state. I mean, you guys run against each other. You talk, right?
Not necessarily.
You don't have his number?
Not necessarily. We don't talk necessarily, but when we meet, we exchange pleasantries.
But he can get and reach across to you and say, oh, sorry, or what really happened, I'm sorry about what happened. Has he reached out personally, like person-to-person relationship? The governor of the state, the person that's supposed to be the chief security officer, the same person that had threatened before, that if they don't tell him that they're coming to the States, that anything they see, may they take on like that.
Not on this occasion. When I lost my father, in fairness to him, he did call me to commiserate with me. So he has ways of reaching me.
But right? on this occasion,
no, he hasn't called me.
He has not called.
And I want to say something about right after this. I'm told that the governor said that this incident was Intra party ADC. I'm told that he said that. I didn't listen to that, and I felt that was a bit premature. I felt that wasn't exactly the right way to approach it. I would have thought that as governor, particularly because Edo is in the news for the wrong reasons, what I expected to hear from him was that we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to deal with whoever is responsible for this. Except he has proof. But, making assumptions or conjecture based on what he saw on TV the day before, except he has proof. And if he does have proof, he should come out with the proof. But to come up as governor to just state categorically.
No, but that's the APC, that's his party's talking about. Because the first person that put that talking point out there was Jared Tenebe, which is, I think, the chair of their party in Edo State.
Edo State, yes.
And he was the one that said it's an intra-party something, and it was about Roland Owe and all of that. I want to ask, is there any back and forth between Roland Owe and Chief Oyegun?
So I joined the party a few days ago, but I was told that the day before, and we saw it on social media, there was a disagreement about a meeting.
Did they shoot guns on that day?
Of course not. They did not shoot guns, right? There was a disagreement. One gentleman is 84 years old. The other one is 87. They have been Senator Roland Owe, I know him. He was in House of Reps in 1979. I know him personally. Chief Oyegun is like a father to me. I find it ridiculous to say, or to assert that because those two gentlemen had a disagreement regarding who is to attend a meeting or not to attend, they will now resort to conscripting men, thugs and all that, to take guns and come to the GRA to search it. Remember, Senator Owe attended the event at the Secretariat. Okay, so he was right there.
He was there.
He was right there at the Secretariat.
So, but you see, let me now talk about party matters. This morning, I call this coalition of ADC that you joined, it's a coalition of jokers, and I'll tell you why. It was after they had signed the electoral law that they just came out with a press conference 8 days after. And I question, what have they been doing all this while? And to my mind, they don't look like a serious opposition. You know me, I will tell it to you the way I feel. They don't look like a serious opposition. There is not taking APC to tax. There is not a proper consensus research department that even gives us empirical challenge on ideas, that gives us research. We are not seeing a lot of the activities out there. We are not seeing engagements. I'm talking engagements, okay. What are the core issues facing Nigerians? This is ADC's view on them. We are just seeing reactionary. You know, government does this and they react. They are not proactive. It just looks as though to me that everybody there are thinking of the primaries, and after the primaries, I pray more the deluge situation. So what is the prospect at a time when Nigerians are yearning for viable opposition? But what I see is just a pantomime. It's like jockey hopscotch. It's child's play.
Well, Rufai, you know, when you get a group like that, a disparate group like that, when they come together, you know, it will take time. You know,
in all fairness, APC. Yes. APC did a way better job of doing the coming together quickly.
Integration issues, integration issues can be difficult, which is why some of us decided that, listen, rather than be on the outside and hope that things will work themselves out, come as much as possible and add value to the effort and see how we can help to move things along quickly, because you're right, 10 months is 10 months to...
You don't have time.
There's frankly no time. So most of us have come in to say, okay, let's pitch. I have friends who are of the same persuasion who have joined just to say, okay, let's you know, put muscle to this thing and try and get rid of all of this, you know, very, you know, huge egos are on the table. So sometimes it's very difficult to get them to align. But I think it's work in progress. And there's a sliver of hope.
Well, let me ask you a number of social questions. Now you've gone to ADC. Are you planning to run for governor? Before that, if your candidate, your political leader, Mr. Peter Obi, does not get the ticket of the ADC, are you and your like minds going to move from the ADC? And where will you go to? Will you go back to Labour Party? And then finally, what do you think of this new timetable that INEC has announced, relying on further adjustments to the Electoral Act?
The first question was
governorship.
Governorship in Edo is off cycle, 2028.
Okay, and when that time comes, are you going to?
We will cross that bridge, Dr. Abati, when we get there. I think it is clear that 2028 will be fully dependent on what happens in 2027. So I have put that in abeyance for now. I'm just thinking Project Nigeria, and let me do my best to see what we can do. So I frankly have not, some have even asked me, would you run for Senate? I am not running. In 2027, we are going to work as much as we can. As Rufai has noted, there's still quite a bit to be done in terms of just organizing. That some of us have certain skills that I think we can bring to bear on the process, you know. And the last question you asked, Peter Obi, we're hoping, those of us who have coming with him, we were hoping that once he subjects himself to the process we hope he will get the ticket. However, I am not one of those. I am not the type of person who will say my way or the highway. Democracy just does not work like that. I am not the type of person who will say if it doesn't work for me the way I want, I am going to throw away the baby and the bathwater. No, I think we will work very hard towards the objective, and then in the event that if it is not achieved, then we'll take it from there and see what is the next best thing.
The new dates for election.
Well, I mean, it's the law is the law. INEC is compelled to respect what is now the law. My only concern, Dr. Obati, is I saw the INEC chairman at the National Assembly defending his almost 1 trillion naira budget the other day. I just hope, and I heard Rufai asking one guest recently, I just hope they will be funded. I just hope they will be funded, because if it is January that is presidential election, you and I know that there are many hoops that we must jump to get to that point. I hope they will be funded, because without funding, INEC really can't do much. And we'll be back to square one.
Just to close on a good note,
yes, sir.
Let's congratulate you on the success of Edo State in the just concluded Niger Delta Games.
We're very thrilled.
Your state came first.
Very thrilled.
So at least that's much better
we're a good host.
Shooting.
Some good news out of it.
Yes.
Very thrilled. And thanks to the Niger NDDC Chairman ABA and MD Managing Director Dr. Obuku for putting it together. It will go a long way to help to bring back our good days in athletics.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For your time with us this morning. Mr. Olumide Akpata. I look forward to seeing you again. And the funding issues you talked about is part of the criticisms of the Electoral Amendment Act of 2026, whereby they reduce the timeline for release of funds for the elections.
It's a red flag.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.